Hello, Notre Dame football fans. Marcus Freeman has finally been officially named the head coach on Monday, December 6th. And Mike, as we know, he immediately made his way to the airport to hit the road and recruiting. What do you think? Just thoughts right off the bat on how he's getting after it?
Yeah, well, first of all, the press conference was amazing. Just the whole setup, even though like Brady Quinn didn't do a whole lot there, like it was still really cool to have such a big name,
Yeah.
Fighting Irish alum there. So, literally less than 2 hours after the start of Freeman's introductory press conference, he boards a private jet with offensive coordinator Tommy Rees to hit the recruiting trail. And our Tyler Horka shot the video that you're seeing now on the on our YouTube video here, of them getting on the private jet. So their destination was to go see Billy Schrauth, the long time Notre Dame offensive guard target from Wisconsin. And I mean, look, the day after it became not official, but Freeman got word and the staff got word that Freeman would become the new head coach. Tommy Rees and a couple of assistant coaches went to Strauth's town, had a visit with him, and it's not a surprise that just a few days later they're back in Fond du Lac. Is that right, Greg? I know you gave me
Fond du
crap
Lac.
about that last time.
Yeah, it's just
Fond
not
du
as
Lac.
sophisticated at the beginning.
Fond du Lac. Yeah. So they are there. I mean, literally, as we're recording this, Marcus Freeman, Tommy Rees, and defensive director of recruiting Chad Bowden are on the private jet to go see him. So Notre Dame hoping that they can close the recruitment and win it over Wisconsin. But then you talk to people on the Wisconsin side of things, Greg, and the Badgers feel confident as well. So I'm liking Notre Dame more than ever, going back a few months when it became apparent that it's not a lock for Notre Dame like we thought for 10 months or so,
Yep.
most of last year and into this year. But again, I feel pretty good now after it was 50-50 there for a while.
And Chad Bowden could be on the road because Notre Dame is down one coach, correct? Because essentially Marcus Freeman was already here. Am I interpreting that right? So they got one more, correct?
Correct. Yeah. So you can have 10 assistant coaches, obviously. Those guys can go on the road. With Freeman being elevated to head coach, you actually lose an assistant coach.
Yeah.
Yes, Bowden is able to go on the road.
All right. So next up, I think a lot of people want to know about some targets out west, and Tobias Merriweather is someone Notre Dame's looking to lock up. A prior, I mean, he's been committed, but really locking him up.
Yeah, I mean, look, Brian Kelly was doing an in-home visit with Tobias Merriweather this time last Monday. I mean, it's just this. I mean, this past week has felt like a year. So yeah, I mean, I would totally understand if I were the Merriweather family that'd be shooken up about Notre Dame right now. I mean, literally 2 minutes after Kelly left their house for that home visit, Pete Thamel of Yahoo Sports broke that news that Kelly would be leaving for LSU. So after Rees and Freeman and Bowden wrap up their visit with Schrauth, they're going out to the Pacific Northwest for that visit with Vancouver, Washington Union wide receiver Tobias Merriweather. Again, Notre Dame commit since the summer, so they're going to want to lock him up as well. And when you have Amarion Walker and CJ Williams, guys who seem, I don't know, 50-50 or so if they're going to stick with Notre Dame. Some sources feel like they're both going to stick. Some feel that, they're in the mix to, decommit. Keeping someone like Tobias Merriweather locked in is just crucial, and he's a big time talent.
Notre Dame made a recent or a new offer to a safety prospect in the class of 2022 up in Michigan. What's the news there, Mike?
Yeah, Cohen Entringer, and I believe I'm saying that name right. I actually
I
haven't
think it sounds right.
pronounced it before. I've just been writing it. So he's someone who's really busted onto the scene here in the past couple of months. A Central Michigan commitment back in the summer, but then when he posted his senior highlight film, which we are watching now,
Mhm.
picked up a few P5 offers. And yeah, he's really blown up since. The four schools that you hear about who are involved are Michigan, and his stepfather, I believe, is a professor at So he's in a Detroit suburb, so you would think that Michigan is the betting favorite for him. Wisconsin's another school in there, Iowa, and now Notre Dame. Last Monday, Chris O'Leary went out to the Detroit suburb, Walled Lake, to see Entringer. He was just there on Sunday as well for a home visit. Offer comes on Monday, and if all goes well, Notre Dame will have him for an official visit this weekend, or if all goes as planned, I should say.
Mm.
And by all accounts, they would like to lock him up and add him as a part of their 2022 class.
Yeah, it might be one of those guys. We heard from the Notre Dame coaches, generally speaking, going into the season that they need to keep their eyes open. A lot of kids didn't have all that much film out there because of COVID and whatnot. It's going to be an odd recruiting season, right? So this he might be this year's kind of hidden gem or diamond in the rough late in the process. You never know. Go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, Rivals has him listed as a two-star recruit. That was funny to me when I saw it. I mean, it's just an outdated evaluation. The kid is, in my opinion, like a on the rival scale, like a 5.6. I think would be fair for him right now. 6'2", 190 pounds. He can thump around 500 receiving yards.
Yeah.
On the offensive side of the ball, Enchinger would be a fine addition. And look, Notre Dame needs to load up in the defensive backfield. You're going to have Kyle Hamilton. I would assume Houston Griffith is a possibility to leave. Does DJ Brown return? Plenty of questions there. And you had Devin Moore decommit. Fighting Irish are hoping to get him back. So,
Mm.
certainly would like 4 or 5 DBs in this class.
Please hit like on this video, subscribe to our YouTube channel. Also, check out blueandgold.com where you can sign up for a free newsletter. We keep you up to speed on everything Notre Dame and Notre Dame football related. Mike, in your gold standard, you had some more optimistic news on Amorian Walker. I guess, why don't you let us know why you feel that that might end up working out for Notre Dame?
Well, I was feeling pretty optimistic, and then I hear that he took an official visit to Mississippi State this past week, and I was like, "Where is that coming from?" The Bulldogs have kept in good contact with him and are trying to keep him, in the South. So it seems like a Michigan, Mississippi State, Notre Dame battle. I guess the likes of Alabama and LSU are not so much in the mix here, with a week and some change before National Signing Day. But yeah, personally, I still like him to stick with Notre Dame. That Irish coaching staff, led by Freeman and Rees, will have a home visit with him this week. They'll also see CJ Williams, who I mentioned earlier from Mater Day. And of course, seeing Merriweather on Monday. So one of the keys for Freeman and Rees to close out this 2022 recruiting class strong is the receiver position. They want to sign their current 3 guys who are committed, but it's going to be tough.
Mike, thanks again for all of your time. It's always great to get these updates on Monday. Big news coming up and a big weekend coming up, correct? I guess quickly, who do you know Notre Dame has lined up for official visits? Because they do get to host officials, right?
Yeah, right now, in talking to sources, Mike, I posed the question as like, who's not visiting Notre Dame this week? And I think that's kind of the better question to ask. So, for those who aren't familiar with this new rule the NCAA implemented, if you have a head coaching change, a kid can take a second official visit to
Yep.
Notre Dame. So, all of Notre Dame's commitments to this point, at the top of my head, have taken their official visit to Notre Dame already. They can all take a second one. So it's just fantastic news. I should know when we do a show Wednesday or Thursday. I'll be able to report that a little bit better than I can right now. But does Billy Schrauth officially visit Notre Dame? What about Entringer, the safety from Michigan we talked about? Walker, Merriweather, Williams. It's a really key thing for Notre Dame here that they can have these kids come back for a second official visit. Like other schools don't have that same opportunity.
Yep, because the Wednesday following the weekend would be the start of the early signing period. So
Right.
that's a great reason to stay on blueandgold.com and follow Mike Singer and all of his great reporting on Notre Dame football recruiting. Thanks everyone for tuning in, and we'll see you soon.